basically their entire team composition is just so good for controlling minion waves, controlling the map, and with an advantage they can do that. So let's fast forward to 28 minutes. So this is actually where we see a really good example of the differences between these two team compositions come into play. So Alliance actually decides to aggressively rotate mid and try to siege in the Copenhagen Wolves. They Siobhan is not there, so they group as 5 and push this in. Young Buck actually responds very quickly, but this is where the differences between these two team compositions really come into play. So Gragas clearing the wave with barrels. They're just trying to clear the wave quickly, but Lucian with his Q and Kale with her whatever the E is called, with her E is just able to completely clear the wave. Even though Alliance got there first, it really didn't matter because there's just so much wave clear from the Copenhagen Wolves. Alright, so this siege goes on for a little bit. And just look at how quickly Cowtard clears these minions. It's no wonder that Kale has become a highly contested pick and ban since the first week of the LCS, with a lot of these European teams showing us how powerful Kale is. So, look at the map right now. Copenhagen Wolves makes a really smart rotation. They have this mid lane pushed up, and they know that Alliance needs to respond to it. I actually have no idea why Froggen is down at the bottom side of the map. I guess he may have wanted to split push and try to get some damage on this tower, but it seems like a weird decision when Gragas is a champion that you really need to have in your siege. And I don't like it. We actually see him begin to rotate up, but he just doesn't get there quickly enough, and he wastes a lot of time like taking Raze when he could have been helping his team. But anyway, that's a problem with Froggen's individual play. I want to talk about this team play. So the Copenhagen Wolves rotate top, and they get there before Alliance, especially because Froggen went to the bottom lane. But also, just because they have this positional advantage in the mid lane, they force Alliance to take this longer path around in order to be safe, because of course Copenhagen Wolves is stronger, so they can't afford a team fight in the jungle. So Copenhagen Wolves gets a really good rotation top, aggressively starts clearing the minion wave. And they get up here with Lucian and with Kale. Kale has the Sheen, so she's doing quite a bit of damage to the tower. And look how fast they kill this tower before Alliance can even respond. Alliance just showed up. Froggen is doing Wraith because he's a baddie. But Alliance just showed up, and they can't do anything because Copenhagen Wolves rotated that much more effectively, that much and rotated aggressively. They made a quick decision, and they stood by it. So by effectively sieging this mid lane and then making a fast rotation to the top lane, Alliance is forced to respond to them and really can't get anything done. So that's another tower in the hands of the Copenhagen Wolves, and Gragas is still taking Wraiths, which he doesn't even get, by the way. So that was definitely worth for him, because why not? So at this point, let's fast forward to about 31 minutes. And what happens here is Copenhagen Wolves, of course, with the ability to control these minion waves in the mid, is sieging for Dragon. So with the advantage, Alliance really has to just play this carefully and respond to them. Copenhagen Wolves uses these sweepers to clear out vision. I actually think that the Copenhagen Wolves should have bought more sweepers in order to control more of the vision and even upgrade their sweepers, because with that extra vision control, it means so much. It means that against a team who is rotating effectively against you, you can make big plays on them. Alliance really wasn't, so it didn't matter in this game, but in most situations, that sweeping lens is going to be very important. So they rotate to the dragon, again getting ahead of Alliance, and the Q smite, I don't know if you saw that. Let's go back. So they're doing this quick rotation. Watch Amazing on Elise, because he does the right thing, the thing that you pretty much always should do as Elise. Q smite, which just instantly kills the dragon. So now at this point, Alliance is like, yeah, we have to engage. Copenhagen Wolves is in kind of a weird position. But what happens is they're a little bit hesitant. So Copenhagen Wolves actually turn this around. They get Young Buck with a Wild Growth on top of him, the Lulu ultimate, and this of course slows Alliance down. So they're actually engaging on Alliance, who wanted to engage on them. And they just can't get away from Young Buck. Look at him in the back line doing all this damage. So meanwhile in the front, Wicked's trying to do something. I actually also really dislike Wicked's build this game, because if you see, he got a Hex Drinker, which just hurts his tankiness a lot. If he gotten a Spirit Visage, he would have been a lot tankier. He could have been a better front line for his team. And he has the Maw and Malmortius now. It's just not a good decision. So really good explosive cast here, actually. But at this point, Young Buck in the back line just doing so much. He still has his flash up. He's actually gonna get out with this Kale ultimate. So Copenhagen Wolves completely disengages with no losses after taking that dragon. A good explosive cast from Froggen does allow them to get this mid tower and a lot of damage on the mid tower, and on the second tier mid tower. So you know, it probably would have been better for the Copenhagen Wolves to play this more passively, and instead of trying to engage, just backing away and rotating to stop Alliance from pushing. But instead they chose to engage, so it is what it is. So Alliance actually makes a pretty good play here. They push the mid lane, and then they rotate and or no, they don't rotate. They keep pushing. They really believe that they can get this second tier mid tower. But I actually think, okay, the second they see Amazing here, they see this Elise, they should realize that, you know, especially because Froggen's down here, he's you know, getting vision. So he is scouting for them to say, yeah, all of Copenhagen Wolves just recalled. Like, if they didn't recall, they're stupid because we can dive them under the tower. So, I mean, they should see this at least and say, yeah, we have a little bit of time before everyone else shows up. Instead of continuing to hit this tower, with this minion wave pushing top, they can rotate and take the top tower. But instead, they stay in the mid lane just a little bit too long. And that ends up burning them. This tower is within one hit of dying. So, I mean, imagine if they had a Lucian. That would have been the difference there. They could have killed this tower. But they don't. So, looks like they're disengaging, doing a pretty good job there. Elise goes in, chases after Nif aggressively. Nif flashes. Amazing is actually so patient here, waiting to flash to get the stun onto Nif. So he flashes and stuns Nif, and with the flash from Kaltard, they're able to get a kill here and aggressively push down the mid lane. And I believe they actually got the second tower here. So yeah, I mean, at this point, the one member of Alliance is dead, and now Alliance is in the same position that Copenhagen Wolves was just in. They have less than a full team. They really can't control this mid lane enough to stop the Copenhagen Wolves push. So Copenhagen Wolves just stay here and siege this mid tower and take it down. Froggen gets a pretty good explosive cast there, but unfortunately it knocks Amazing back, and Amazing is probably, with tabs being so low, he's not the person that you want to be closer to your team. So Copenhagen Wolves just has too much of an engagement threat. I love this ultimate by Lucian, because what he does, he actually avoids hitting champions here. Instead, he uses his ultimate to clear the minion wave. So now, Alliance, not only are they in this bad position where they just lost a tower, and they really can't siege against the Copenhagen Wolves, but they have no minion wave. They can't even respond by making any kind of play, because they have no pressure on the map. So really good ultimate by Forgiven, really good sieging based play based on the Copenhagen Wolves, taking advantage of just the smallest errors by Alliance and some large errors, but mostly small errors by Alliance. So fast forward to 34-30. Yeah. So at this point, I actually think Copenhagen Wolves makes a little bit of a mistake sieging here. So you see, remember, this tower is extremely low from the last time Alliance pushed, and having the mid tower down is a huge advantage because it gives you so much vision and so much map control. So they really want to hold this, probably more than they care about holding the bot lane. But Alliance is aggressively sieging this bottom tower. Copenhagen Wolves, though, has a pretty big advantage with their team composition. Lucian's actually dead, which kind of sucks, and this is why Alliance is pushing here, because Lucian is dead. And actually, I'm gonna back up and see what happened. I don't remember. So yeah, Lucian's just overextended and dies. I actually think Shook should have saved his ultimate there. Well, no. It was good for him to use his ultimate, because otherwise they wouldn't have gotten that kill. But, I mean, the thing is, like, without that ultimate, it's going to be harder for Shook to accomplish anything when they do this aggressive siege on bottom. So, fast forward to 34-30, they're pushing up the bottom lane. And Wicked makes a really good rotation to the mid lane to push this, so he's split pushing, and Cowtard has recalled. So I think that they should have sent either Lucian or Kayle to deal with Wicked in this mid lane. Wicked really can't fight them because he's at such a disadvantage just on global gold right now, and they can clear the wave fast. So having either of them in that lane just to clear the wave and keep him from accomplishing anything would have made such a big difference. And, you know, of course, I think it actually should have been Lucian, because then you have the Kayle on the bottom lane to basically discourage Alliance from engaging. Because you don't want to dive a Kayle ultimate. And actually, I lied, Shook's ultimate is already back up, so never mind about that. But anyway, this is a really funny, really good play by the Copenhagen Wolves here. They polymorph Shook, keep him from grabbing the lantern, and this is just kind of an aside, but then Unlimited actually drops a ward on top of the lantern. So that means that Shook can't click on it, because if he clicks on it, he's going to attack the ward. So he's forced to not grab the lantern. It didn't end up mattering, but it is relevant. So Wicked actually, with the good rotation there, manages to get the mid tower, and they did eventually send Forgiven to deal with that, but it was kind of too late. They should have been a little bit quicker with their play calling there. So Alliance actually grabs a little bit of an advantage there off of the overextension from Forgiven. So let's go to 36 minutes, which is coming up here pretty quick. Young Buck actually does a really good job of, since Alliance all recalled after that, it was actually a huge mistake of Alliance to all recall after that, because it gives Copenhagen Wolves free reign over the map, and with that bottom tower still up, Young Buck can just shove up the bottom lane really quickly with Shyvana and take the tower. So generally you want to recall in waves to avoid letting your opponent just take a large map advantage because you don't have anyone there. Now, of course, you don't want to engage in a fight during that time, but it's much better if you're able to have some kind of map presence at any given